Story 1. Switzerland. My second choice would be Norway, assuming I could find a well-paying job there. Otherwise, I would be bankrupt after a month or two. Story 2. New Zealand has good weather, the Maori culture is interesting, and it has healthcare and a decent economy. I have never been there. Story 3. Antarctica is far from everyone and everything. Let others sort out their drama on their own. I will enjoy my peace and quiet. Story 4. Belize, with tropical diseases addressed, is a place where I firmly believe the tropical weather is how humans are meant to live. Story 5. If Spain had a better job market in my field, I would eagerly take the opportunity to live in the Valencian community. Nice in France would be my second choice, as it is not too far from Marseille, Monaco, and the Italian Riviera. It offers a perfect climate for most people and a high quality of life. Story 6. I want to live the rest of my life in my country, but I have always wanted to go to Mongolia for an extended period. There is something there that attracts me deeply. Story 7. Scotland is a beautiful country with an interesting history. It is close enough to Europe that I can afford to visit for my studies without breaking the bank, unlike most of the rest of Western Europe. Additionally, I appreciate that I don't have to learn another language just to live there, although I would like to learn Gaelic. I just don't want it to be a requirement for everyday activities like going to the store. Story 8. I would choose Germany, specifically Berlin. Coming from New York City, I need big city vibes, and Berlin is one of the few places that feels comparable. Story 9. My wife and I are currently flying back from spending our second winter in southern France, and it has been amazing. I appreciate the appeal of a big city like Paris, but we live in a large, cold city for the rest of the year, so the slower pace of life in the south of France is perfect for us. The food is of excellent quality and relatively inexpensive. The wine is incredible, and the scenery is breathtaking. Sometimes while driving, I have to stop for a moment to admire the natural beauty surrounding me. The people in the south are very friendly. My French is still a work in progress, and everyone was eager to help us along. It's also easy to drive a few hours and reach Barcelona, Toulouse, or even northern Italy if we crave some excitement, or to hop on an inexpensive flight to anywhere in Europe. We had been traveling to much warmer climates for the winter before, and I was hesitant to make the switch, considering the weather isn't extremely warm. But now I have fallen in love with it a little bit. Story 10. I have heard that Germany, compared to Canada, has an amazing economy regarding the cost of living for lower and middle-class citizens. I think Germany might be my top choice. However, I feel somewhat trapped in Canada due to extreme poverty. If money were no object, I would probably choose Costa Rica. Story 11. Mexico has an air of growth and progress about it. The culture, people, food, and climate are like missing pieces of a puzzle in my life. I will see how much I like it once I stay there long term, but I have truly fallen for that country and its wonderful people. Story 12. Germany or Amsterdam, any developed country that takes care of its people and provides free healthcare. My parents immigrated to the United States and achieved the American dream of putting us through school. Now I'm trying to uproot them and my family away from this place that currently discriminates against brown people. Unfortunately, even as a high-income couple, I do not want my children to be raised here. Returning to Mexico is also not an option because, unlike these fake influencers who live in sheltered circumstances, Mexico remains very corrupt. Story 13. I would like to live in a French-speaking country, but I love Canada too much to leave. One day, I will retire and move to New Brunswick. Story 14. I live in the United Kingdom, and negatives aside, I like it here. If not here, then I guess Norway, Canada, or Sweden might be my choices. Story 15. Italy is undoubtedly the most beautiful country, with the best food and the nicest people. I can definitely see myself living there. Story 16. I am staying in South Africa. The global situation has made our problems seem insignificant in comparison. Story 17. Lately, I have developed a fascination for Wales. I think it stems from listening to Rob Brydon and Alex Jones on Would I Lie to You? I love the accent, and as I began researching the country, it seemed lovely. I am Canadian of Dutch ancestry, and if I spoke Dutch, I would live there in an instant. Story 18, Belgium. I enjoy pastries, wine, Belgian beer, relaxing atmospheres, and beautiful views. I also speak a little French and Dutch. Story 19. Well, I don't know about settling somewhere else, but I always have a feeling that something is waiting for me in Morocco as a country and Moscow as a city. I have never had any interaction with these places, but it's just a feeling. Story 20. Scotland sounds enchanting based on what I have read, seen in photos and videos, and the experiences of my relatives from Birmingham who visited there. Story 21. Maybe it's because of my dad, but I recently visited Mexico twice in the last 8 months after not going for almost 15 years. My dad is 73 years old and has been wanting me to visit since he decided to return to Mexico after retiring. I forgot how it made me feel being back there, and I look forward to returning whenever I can. Story 22. I would love to live in Italy. I have been there a few times, and I always feel at home, especially in Bologna. That city is magical. It helps that it is also close to home and the cultural differences are not that significant. Story 23. Iceland has always fascinated me since I was 10 years old. I am currently in my mid-40s and have been trying to learn the language for a while. As my second and third choices, I would consider Sweden or Norway, both of which I have visited and felt at home. I apologize to Finland, but I find the language challenging. Story 24. Finland, if I could get a job that allows me to have a similar quality of life that I have right now. I don't mind the cold. I love the outdoors. Story 25. Japan. I have never felt more at peace or at home than when I was stationed there for 2 years. I returned to visit a year ago, and all those memories came rushing back. I just hope other tourists would be more considerate so they don't ruin the experience for the rest of us. Seriously, who thinks it is a good idea to do pull-ups on a torii gate? And please learn train etiquette, which ties into the online discourse about Japan. Japan is the most heavily gate-kept country on the internet. No one online wants you to go there, despite the Japanese tourism industry pushing advertisements and encouraging visitors. They want at least 60 million people to visit by 2030, yet some individuals on online forums go out of their way to make you feel guilty for even considering a trip. It is puzzling, and I do not observe this kind of attitude with any other country regarding tourism. But just ignore them. Story 26. If it weren't for all the wildlife that could harm me, I would like Australia if Canada is no longer an option. Story 27. A long-held dream of mine is to get a 30-foot sailboat, equip it with solar panels and a desalination system, and anchor it in a marina off the coast of Portugal. The weather is incredible, the food is amazing, and it has everything a person could ever want. Story 28. Chile is purely based on aesthetics. I have no idea about other important aspects of society, which is probably not good. Story 29. Currently in Canada. If in the future Canada is no longer a good option, then I prefer settling in New Zealand. Story 30. Germany. I have never been there, but my dad lived there for about 3 years while in the military. He has told me a lot about what it is like to live there and the culture, and it seems much more fitting to me than America. Everything in Germany makes complete logical sense, and there is reasoning for why they do things and how they do things. There is no expectation to be friendly and social with everyone just to be polite. Generally, you mind your own business unless you need to interact. Story 31. Iceland. I previously wanted to live in the United States in the city of Baltimore, but now it is unpleasant to even consider it. Story 32. I don't plan to leave my native country, but if I did, it would probably be Finland. Finland has an advanced and progressive society, a cold climate, spectacular wild spaces, and a tradition of hunting and shooting sports. Additionally, it is known for great music and hockey. Story 33. Honestly, my interest in Japan is not for the reasons most people assume. I am not a fan of anime, I do not speak Japanese, and I have no interest in sex tourism. I do not want to live in a big city. What appeals to me is the idea of living in a tiny rural village in the picturesque countryside. Sadly, it will probably never happen for various reasons. Story 34. The nature of the United States is amazing. features deserts, forests, mountains, beaches, and more. Story 35. Honestly, the United States of America. I love the people here. I love the beauty in our nature. I love the glory of our cities. I hope I never have to leave. Story 36. Madeira. I resided here with my family, but my work compels me to return to the United Kingdom a few times a month. I adore this island and its temperate climate, its varied environments of lush forests and majestic mountains. Madeira isn't without the common issues of the housing crisis and the cost of living that affects young people living in hardship, but the culture is so friendly and accommodating towards each other. The bureaucracy for banks, government licenses, passports, visas, and school registration is very slow, and any type of trade work can be interminable because the culture here often embraces a relaxed approach to compliance. Madeira's language is Portuguese, and it's mandatory outside of Funchal if you wish to obtain any type of permanent residency here. Most people speak some English, but it becomes less frequent outside of the capital. Story 37. I dream of British Columbia. I know it is not a country, but I want to be specific because Canada is a vast nation, and not all parts appeal to me equally. Story 38. Ireland and Scotland. Ireland is absolutely lovely, especially along the west coast. The weather may not be great, but the people are delightful. I've heard Scotland is similar, and I love the look of Edinburgh, although I haven't visited. The housing crisis in developed countries is quite concerning. On the other hand, India is a chaotic place, but if I could find a place on the west coast around Goa, I would love it. The warm beaches, friendly people, and fewer Western tourists compared to places like Thailand or Vietnam would be ideal. As chaotic as their politics may be, the country is progressing. The food is undoubtedly the best I have experienced while traveling. It's amusing to hear people claim that the United Kingdom has the best Indian takeaway food. I have never had Delhi belly because I ate sensibly, avoiding anything washed in tap water or ice and choosing fresh options. Additionally, you can communicate in English in most cities, making it relatively easy to navigate. Malaysia might also be a good option. It is less expensive than Singapore, rich in culture, but there are more language barriers. However, I haven't visited yet. That said, I do love my country, South Africa. The Cape Winelands make you feel like you are in the south of France. The wild coast in the Eastern Cape feels like Ireland but warmer, and the Indian food in Durban is definitely better than the Indian food I had in the United Kingdom. Story 39. Russia is not necessarily a place to live or not for very long, as I am not a fan of the cold. However, the literature and culture make it so attractive. Unfortunately, in the present day, this may seem like an endorsement of their politics, which one could argue are part of a long history and an intrinsic part of the culture. You don't have to love everything about a place to feel attracted to it. For a relaxed lifestyle, many places in the Mediterranean, such as the south of France or Sicily, are appealing. Story 40. The best place is where you don't need to change yourself significantly to fit in. It should not require you to learn a new language, adapt to a different climate, or adopt new lifestyles. The principle of least action applies here. You should be able to do the minimum and still be accepted. Consider the place where you grew up as a child. It's a location where you know all the nuances and can almost communicate with just a look. It's a place where you can easily gauge situations, where surprises are minimal, and things unfold as you expect. This is a place that allows you to go with the flow, live freely, and not remain constantly vigilant. It accepts your randomness and imperfections. In contrast, many Western countries have stripped away randomness from their citizens. People often lack opportunities for creativity and instead operate like cogs in a machine, working solely for the economy. Governments invest heavily in transforming individuals into ideal workers, intruding into every aspect of life to optimize productivity. Other beautiful places often cater mainly to tourism. Story 41. Switzerland has gun rights, beautiful scenery, and attractive women. Norway would come in second for similar reasons. Story 42. Denmark is very safe, has great coffee, good salads, and the people are friendly and attractive. I feel much happier there and can walk around at 2 a.m. without the fear of being mugged. Story 43. I am moving to Greece in 5 years. If I cannot learn the language, I will go to Portugal. I am currently in Canada. I love Greece very much. Story 44. I am attracted to Japan and find the country fascinating, but I'm not sure I would want to settle there for the rest of my life. I am moving to Japan this summer for at least 2 years, so I guess we will see. Every interview I had mentioned the whole "you will be isolated" thing, but here in Canada, I already see my friends in person only once a year. I am more than just an introvert. I seem to have a much lower need for human interaction than the average person, so I am genuinely not that worried about it. I also will not be working for a Japanese company, which I do not think I would ever do, so that is a plus for me as well. Overall, I believe I will love the experience abroad, but I cannot say whether I would stay long-term without having lived there. Story 45. I visited Curacao for 14 days and just got back home last week. I immediately fell in love with it. What a relaxed and beautiful small country. They also speak Dutch, which is very welcome since I'm from the Netherlands. Story 46. These days, it feels like everywhere has deep institutional problems, unless you are a multimillionaire. Story 47. My roommates just went to Japan for 5 days, and they are excited to share stories about how their culture is considerate. They do not intrude to ask simple questions, wear masks when they are sick, and clean up after themselves. Aside from being unable to leave your job until your boss does, that all sounds fantastic. However, I cannot read, write, or speak Japanese, so that would be a major challenge. Story 48. My wife's family is from Thailand. When we are old enough to retire, the money we have saved will go a lot further there. The food is good. Story 49. I moved to Spain 3 years ago and have been loving it so far. It's definitely not perfect, especially the bureaucracy, but I have yet to encounter a country that beats it for what I am looking for. Story 50. I lived in Japan for a couple of years and loved it. I wish I could go back and live there again for a few years now that I'm older. That being said, if it's for the rest of my life, I'd prefer to go somewhere more relaxed like Spain. Story 51. New Zealand has amazing nature, and the people seem really nice. In the event of a nuclear war, I feel that no nuclear weapons would be dropped there. Story 52. I have only been to Japan, China, and America. However, I really enjoy my time in Australia. There aren't too many people, especially in the countryside, and the residents are generally less polarized. Still, there are cultural hubs in the cities that I can visit and appreciate. I do not have to work too hard to live comfortably, allowing me the freedom to focus on my personal development and projects. Having access to online communities is beneficial as well. Story 53. My wife and I are considering Portugal. It is very appealing for many reasons. It is a gorgeous country, has wonderful people, great food, and nice weather. Story 54. Whenever I see pictures and videos from Ireland and Scotland, there is almost a yearning in my bones to go and never look back. Story 55. Germany has problems with immigrants these days, so it is unlikely to happen. I love the language and plan to start learning it this year. Story 56. Philippines. I love the Philippines. I've met so many Filipinos over the years, and my first encounter about 9 years ago truly changed my life. I want to live among such wonderful people. The food here is also a highlight for me. Story 57. Attracted to the Philippines because I want to connect with a friend we met in another country while working there. I would like to settle in Singapore, although it seems like a pipe dream. Story 58. I love my country, Finland. I could never imagine myself anywhere else. But if I had to move for some reason, it might be Sweden. It's a beautiful place with many similarities. Story 59. Brazil. If you know Portuguese and can navigate the culture, it is amazing. Otherwise, it's a tough challenge. Story 60. I have lived in Spain since Brexit and will reside here for the rest of my life. Why? I followed my partner. Story 61. If I buy a normal house in Andorra or have a forest with my house in southern France or Sweden. Story 62. I absolutely love France. I think I would be very happy living there. I do not understand the negativity. The French are amazing people. Story 63. The North Pole. Will the rest of my life be long over there? No. But the polar bear cuddles are worth it, even accounting for the risk of being eaten alive. Story 64. I love where I live in Canada, so I'm not moving. However, if I had to choose another country, I would probably choose Scotland, the Netherlands, Germany, Sweden, or Norway. Story 65. I am not attracted to Japan as a whole. I appreciate aspects of Japanese urban life, but I know I couldn't handle living there full-time. The United Kingdom is more my speed. There will be no language or cultural barrier. This is also true for Australia. If Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom form a partnership, and they have a Schengen-like passage system, it would be beneficial. Story 66. I am eager to visit Poland. Most of the Polish people I have met are wonderful. Additionally, the majority of Polish women I have encountered are incredibly beautiful. Story 67. I visited Ireland once and really loved it. The culture, people, history, and beer were fantastic. I also greatly love my own country, Canada, and we have so much land to explore. I plan to do so. Story 68. Either Gibraltar, my dad's birth country, South Korea, or Japan. I can say some words in Japanese like asking for water, rice, or sushi. I am learning Korean through music. Story 69. For me, it felt like Spain. However, upon further reading from the United Kingdom, the Spanish job market is currently experiencing significant challenges. Story 70. France, I have a lot of respect for them fighting against corruption. Here in the Philippines, most people are apathetic. Story 71. I would love to settle in Southeast Asian countries, including China and Korea. I have admired them since before K-pop became famous. I appreciate their safety and technological advancement. Story 72. The Principality of Sealand, the way Prince Michael defended his country and captured those mercenaries, is admirable. I would follow him anywhere. Story 73. My gym has treadmills with video screens. Since the internet does not connect for streaming, they have stock videos of runs to watch. Auckland, New Zealand looks interesting. I am unsure if they accept Americans anymore. Story 74. I am attracted to many countries but am content where I am. I love Japan, Italy, Iceland, Norway, the United States, and the United Kingdom. I live in Lithuania. Story 75. Ireland is an English-speaking country, part of the European Union. The food is great and the culture is very laid back, unlike the hustle culture we have here in America. I know Ireland has its problems, including the cost of living, but that's no different from just about everywhere else right now. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.